Yeah, good evening to all the students present here. Thank you for joining for class 8. So welcome to class 8. We have completed 7 classes and we have completed how many steps? Do you guys remember how many steps we have completed till now? Can I get the answer in chat? How many steps have we completed till now? Is it 5 steps, 10 steps out of 24 steps? We have completed 19 steps. Amazing, amazing. All of you are on the right pace. We have completed 19 steps. But once I see one of the students says 20 steps, okay, he might be ahead of us. No worries, we'll cover the rest of the 5 steps, 20, 21, 22, 23. 24 steps by this that is today's class. So some of the announcements I want to make before we go ahead and talk about other steps. So I had some very important and very nice observations about your individual assignments which you guys had submitted. So if you remember what was individual assignments, I gave you to write about one startup which was a failure and one startup which was success. And you also evaluated, at least few of you evaluated your classmates on what they are trying to do or what is that they are their assignments, so that you also get to know other 2 or 3 or 4 different startups. Most of your students, so I did all the evaluations, maybe 5 or 6 who submitted very late. Those students have to still do the evaluation. I'll complete it today. But rest of the students, amazing work. All of you have really understood what I wanted you to do. So the takeaway from those assignments for all of us here present here is that we got to know at least 2 companies thoroughly, why they failed or why they succeeded, and if you were you, what were the things you were doing very differently. That was really surprising that all of you have put a lot of effort, searched all over internet, and I got to know a few of you have also emailed the concerned founders or co-founders or some company people and came back and you have submitted your assignments. Really good that you are really enjoying this course and also answering all the assignments very religiously, very religiously. And unfortunately, there were few students, I would say out of 400 plus students or 450 plus students, there were around 10 or 15 students who didn't understand this assignment very well, even the description was given and everything. What problem I had seen in your assignments is that in very few assignments is that entire team submitted the same assignments for all five team members, which was not expected. And few of the, because I did all the evaluation, I understood, I read all of them, so I knew who had done the same assignment. So I went back and I saw why they have submitted both the assignments. So both same assignments. So if you have done that, what I've done is, if entire team has submitted same assignments, I've given 0, because that was not expected, and the assignment also was submitted was not really it was just like copy paste and namesake you had done. So for that you would have lost marks. And second thing is, I had seen few of the students who submitted, like you and your friend submitted same assignments, like you had a buddy system, which also I saw that few of you had submitted same assignment. That also was but it was only 2. So what I did was, the valuation was for 10 marks, so I gave 5 marks for both of them. I didn't know who copied from whom, or you did it together, but you were not supposed to do that assignment together. It was individual assignment. Okay. And if you still have some contest to make, or if you're still not happy with your marks, I would say please wait after the class. I'll right away show you in Canvas. I've made some comments. I've also analyzed each of the assignments and made some comments. I'll also share it specifically individually with each one of you. And startup perspective is still missing from few of the students. This is almost, I would say, around 20% of students. There is still missing, you are missing what is the perspective of startup. According to you, in one line, what do you think is startup? Can I have some like couple of words or one sentence? What do you mean by startup? We have completed, almost we'll be completing all the steps today. What do you mean by startup? You have any answers for that? What do you mean by startup? Startup. What do you think is that term about? I assume that you are typing it. Budding venture, baby company, innovation, a setup to initiate new innovation, a setup to initiate a service or product, new ideas. Awesome. All of you are right. But I mean, keep going your answers. I'll read out as and when it comes. So coming up with solution or innovation, solving problems, mutual benefit, the mutual benefit. I don't know for who are the mutual people there. Newer technology and company. Okay. All of you are right. But one thing, remember, when I asked you for assignment, people actually tried to do something on, okay, starting a company whose ideas stand out in the world. So this is really interesting. See, startup, I have seen assignments, people submitting Reliance Foundation as startup. I don't know when they graduated from startup, but they are really not a startup. Somebody has really confused between regular business versus startup. If you remember our first class, we discussed about IDE versus something known as IDE is innovation driven entrepreneurship and general business kind of entrepreneurship. IDE is investment will be more exponential growth will happen. Whereas regular business, which is not driven by innovation, like your canteen, your shops, and things like that, that is nothing but you invest and you get, but the growth is not exponential. You will get profit, but growth is not exponential. So I have seen very interesting, like people have just named some big companies, Google and all. Yeah, Google was startup, but I don't think they're no more startup. Even if they claim themselves as startup, I don't think they are. But yeah, I've still given marks because you have put all the efforts to understand what is good and what is bad. And domain specific startups was really interesting. Electrical engineering students, successful startup, almost out of 60, 65 students, I saw 20, 30 students have mentioned as ether energy. So I will see if I can bring him as one of the guest speaker in one of our classes or sometime soon, either outside class also. I mean, I know the founder of Ether Energy, so I'll try to get him. It was really impressive that all of you put, and it was very clear that none of you have copy pasted. Though the founder, when it was found, everything is same. But you have written your own perspective, most of you, which is good. And there was also another telecommunication. Coming to telecommunication assignments, when I saw, it is really interesting that most of you have written telecom companies like Geo, and some of you have written Docomo as failure, Nokia as failure, and so on and so forth. And it was repeating by many of them. So company names are same, but what content you have written, what inference you have done is really good. So congratulations, all of you. You have been really putting a lot of efforts for the assignment, and kudos to that. And major chunk of you have done really good work, so congratulations for that. And one more assignment for next week in the live class. So next guest speaker I have arranged for 9th of December. Till then you'll may have one internals, I guess, but in between I have not yet arranged any of the guest speaker because we have some of the things, important things to cover, and we may need little time. But the next guest speaker is on 9th, and I've got from Government of Karnataka, Startup Karnataka. So one of the manager from Startup Karnataka who will be discussing about, he's a Government of Karnataka person, so he'll be discussing about what are the opportunities you get or what are the perks you get for a startup in Karnataka. Next week in the class you will have quiz, which will be live quiz, which means that you have to come to class and attend it, please. And it will carry 5 marks, so be very cautious. So we'll use clap only. I'll make authentication on so that you have to sign in and you have to answer, sign in using DMSC email ID. You have to sign up so that it's easier. If I give Google form and then time limit, there may be chances that you'll start discussing. I don't want to encourage that. So we'll have clap itself. So I'll give you one demo, one kind of mock test in the next class starting, so that you get used to the tool authentication and all. And after that we'll have one quiz. So be very ready. What quiz you will get is all the 24 steps what you have learned and all the classes what you have attended. You may also get some of the guest speakers and all those things. So in case you didn't attend any of the class, it's the time to go back and see the videos and also ensure that you have understood the concepts which you have told. So this is one announcement which I wanted to give. Apart from that, next week's team assignments is I want one slide from each of the team member. Okay, just one slide. The slide what you're looking as my background, that's one single slide I want. It should be 16:9 widescreen format. The one which I am using right now is not 16:9. It's 4:6 or something like that. So it's not 16:9, but it's little wide one. I want that kind of format. Each one of you will submit as PPT or PP, or Google Slides is also okay if you put link, but better I want is PPT so that I can download, collate everything and put it. When you do your assignments, ensure that you have college logo placed there, you have department name, you have your name, all your team members' name, your USN also put there, and what's your need and innovation or solution. That's the single statement I want to be highlighted. How you do it? Use any steps out of 24 steps what you have learned. It should be infographics. Don't put only text. So the screen what you're seeing right now is text. I don't want like this. It should be infographics. So if you ask me, I would have pulled up all my previous assignments, whatever 5, 6 assignments I have, put it and made one nice slide for me to present. And be as creative as you want. You can make using your PPT, or Google Slide, or you can make it as you can make it as use some other softwares like Canva or Photoshop or things like that. And oh, sorry, it's 16:9. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Manjunath, for that. Manjunath, sir, yeah, 16:9. So I'm really sorry for that. It's 16:9. I'll change the slide later. So whenever you do the 16:9, so ensure that you have that, and it should be it can be an image, or you can do within the slide, and build directly from the slide that's left to you, or use Canva or any kind of software you want. So what I'll do with this is I'll circulate it with your HODs to know what you guys amazing work you're doing. So it is 16:9. Again, I'm sorry for the typo. And I'll circulate with your HODs. I'll circulate with some of the people. I'll circulate with some of the investors also. If they're interested, they can go through and come up with some of the answers or some comments on that. And this will be like more like I'm preparing you for your final presentation. Okay, I'll repeat this again at the end of the sem, so that end of the class, so that you get some idea about it. So we have completed many steps, right? We have completed 19 steps. So what are those 19 steps is you can see in my next slide. So we have completed market segmentation, beachhead market, end user profile, beachhead TAM size, persona, life cycle use case, high level specification, quantifying value proposition, next 10 customers, define core, chart competitive position, determine DMU, map acquisition process, follow on TAM, designing business model, pricing framework, LTV, lifetime value of a customer, and mapping sales process, COCA, which is cost of customer acquisition. So we have finished till 19. Rest of the things which we'll cover today is identifying key assumptions, testing key assumptions, defining product. Defining MVBP. Next is product, and then product plan. So MVBP is minimum viable business product. So these are some of the steps. There won't be any assignments related to this 5 steps because it's too advanced, and you should be really coming up with something big. But you are always welcome. If you are really interested, get back to me, write an email separately. I can share the worksheet so that you can continue growing of your company. But for this course, we'll not do any assignments for these 5 things. So let's come to the 20th step. 20th step is identify key assumptions. So you have some assumptions you have to identify. Say, for example, somebody did a face shield for COVID-19, okay? Face mask and face shield. And some of the assumptions what the team has made is, when I'm using this, so whenever I'm detecting, I'll assume that they're already comfortable using face shield like helmet. So those are kind of assumptions which we may see. So I can't wait to see how it works. No, but maybe that would have been great idea. Did you test each module before you test the whole thing? Now this does not end well. So it is nothing but you are identifying some of the key assumptions in any of the steps you have done, starting from market segmentation, persona, or building your business model or anything. All those steps you would be testing if you have done some kind of assumptions. And how are you breaking those assumptions or validating those assumptions is the next step. Let's see some of the examples. Maybe you'll understand better. So usually you will determine some of the assumptions where you just assume that people will use it, assume that it will be what you are anticipating, and so on so forth. And you'll rank totally up to 5 to 10 assumptions in the order of importance. If that assumptions goes wrong, if that assumption is not valid, then your entire step what you have done, all these 24 steps, will break down, and your startup will also break. So what you'll do is you'll rank those 10 and see if you have to tweak something else. So the topic for today is more precisely how to optimally design in a balanced fashion and build our product. So that's what we are doing. Balancing it's for time, money, as well as some odds of success and so on and so forth. So what do you mean by key assumptions? Key assumptions, it will help you to identify before you begin to make heavy investment in product development. So all these 5 steps are something which are related to scaling. Now the pivoting stage, prototyping stage, all those you have already graduated. Now you should do some heavy investments to rise your company to little higher level. For example, you have done something and now is the time you want to build it in scale. So you have come up with COVID mask or COVID face shield, and you want to build or you want to get it in maybe around scaling in terms of 100,000 every day. So it means that you have to do heavy investment on that. So which is very, very tough at this point of time. So because you haven't validated your key assumptions. So why do you need to do this? It's because it is faster and it costs very less money to do the testing. Okay. So it will be easier and it will give you some of the truth. It will help you to identify some of the truth. So next thing is, so what are the key assumptions? Okay. Some of the assumptions can be starting from, as I said, it can be from primary market research, or it can be your value proposition, which you're telling, what are the specific features, your specific specifications of features, time to market, what is time to market, the time which has cost for you to build the product to going to the market. If you take medtech, I see medical electronics students here. So if you take medtech, it will take easily around 3 years, 4 years for time to market. You conceptualize today, even if your product is ready, you have to go through multiple process because you're dealing with human life. You have to go to regulatory process. That assumption you would have made is just 1 year, but it may actually shoot to 3 more extra years. So do you have appetite to wait for 3 more years? Do you have investment to put and sustain your company for 3 years? What are the channels? What is the cost? And so on and so forth. Are you solving the right problem is another one. And is this the right customer? Are you solving the right problem? Is this the right customer? Will your customer buy? Is some of the answers which you will get. This is one of the thing which I've copied from the textbook of this course. So some of the assumptions which they have made and which step they are working on. So what step it is it step related to value proposition, core, LTV, persona, business model, COCA, and so on and so forth. And what is a risk level? Risk level we tell low, medium, and critical. Low, medium, high, and critical. Critical is something, if that goes wrong, then there will be a lot of, then your company will crash, literally crash. High is your company will not really crash, but you will try to see if you can balance somehow. And another one is medium. Medium is nothing but maybe little less, and low is like hardly, even if it happens, and I don't feel it's a risk. So some of the example they've given is like the US market is attractive to our customer base. So which one we say? It's related to value proposition. It is critical. If wrong, we are not solving the right problem. If your assumption that is US market is attractive to your customer base, your first market or you before you go global is US market, you think that it is US market is the best market to go. And if your assumption is not validated and you think that it's wrong, then your company will crash. Similarly, Indian market or anything. So this is some of the examples. So some of the assumptions is how you validate it. Okay. So this is one of the company which is called as SASA, which is a not, which is a for-profit social venture. So social innovation, many of them they think that they shouldn't make money. That's myth. So social innovation can be not for profit social innovation or for profit social innovation. So this social innovation or social venture is empowering women in Africa who sell their art worldwide using mobile phones. So here it's a two-sided market. Why do we call two-sided market? You have producer, that is the African woman who will produce some of the art work that you will buy and you will sell it to people worldwide. So you are like Amazon, for this art mark. That's called Sasa. They had a lot of assumptions. So they thought that craftswomen want to be economically empowered. That's why they are doing this. Craftswomen will adapt the Sasa platform in their market practices. Vendors will earn a suitable income. Vendors will earn more using Sasa than selling by themselves. Vendors are familiar with using camera-enabled phones and using SMS, using etc., etc., and all. So these are some of the assumptions they had done, and they had worked everything. Here, there may be few assumptions which are very critical, few of them which are very high risk, and few of them are low risk. For example, if they don't know how to use SMS, you can teach them. So that's one of the assumptions you have made, but later you can teach them. But it's not too high. It's like a medium or a very low level of that. But if the craftswomen want to be economically empowered, if you think that yes, they want to become that, you have assumed it, and later they'll think that no, we are not really bothered about it. We just want to show or showcase our talent. Then again, it's a high risk because they won't produce and they'll give it to you. So the other side of the market is assumptions. So it's like for customers who actually use mobile phones, who actually use all the products of Sasa using the technology, and they think that okay, they will come in case somebody wants to buy artwork, they'll come to their platform and work. So these are some of the assumptions. Similarly, do assess in your company if you have any assumptions. Just maybe you can put one or two assumptions, find what is the risk and things like that. One more example is weather app to advise students how to dress. So there is an app which will tell you how to dress. So weather app on phone, whether will it affect clothing selection, how often? So there is a weather app, in India we are very fortunate, especially if you are in Bangalore, the weather is very good throughout the year, but it may not be true in many of the places all over world. So it will be extreme, it will be too cold, it will be too hot. Only there are many places where people don't come out of their house for 7 or 8 months. They just visit outside because it's always snowing if you take northern Canada and other things. So just think about it. So people came up with an app, and they thought that they will tell students how to use clothing selection. So will it affect? So if I'm sitting every time at home, I'm very comfortable clothing, will they use my app? Some of the assumptions they have put. Photo sharing. So I want to use a photo sharing. So every day, if you see now, just before COVID, we used to have GBs of photo. Anywhere you go, you used to click selfie. Anywhere you go, you used to click photo, and so on and so forth. But all those photos are not in single place, and you are really having tough time to find what photos you want. So people came with Google Photos and so on and so forth. Now, once you have all the photos, searching those specific photos. Now, Google Photos, if you see, you can put some locations, you can put mountains, and it will show photos around mountains. You can put screenshot, it will show all screenshot together. documents together. If you say selfies together, you can tag one person, automatically it will use AI algorithm and it will find, say, search Abhishek in this database, all Abhishek photo will come up. So these are some of the capabilities very recently which Google have added, maybe a year or a couple of years or 3 years ago. But question from team is, should we use Dropbox, should we use Google Plus, should we use Amazon, or any other backend for storage? Question we wanted answers were, will your persona and then target customer group buy your basic functionality? So linkage to personal social graph, other meta tags, backend storage was not critical assumptions to test. But see, privacy issues you should think. Are people ready to put their own photos? See, there was a lot of hue and cry a few years ago saying Facebook is using our data, Google is using our data, and so on and so forth. And now if you see, everybody uploads their photos on social media, you don't take anybody concerned. Even this class photo I'll take and I'll upload on social media, you will like it. So things are happening in that way, but that may not be actually the way how things may work. So these are some of the assumptions. Those assumptions, now you have to test it. For testing, don't do testing which are very expensive. Do minor testing. If you want to see if people will like to share photo, easier way is, how do you find out? You just go, maybe in this classroom we are 500 people, so just post it on classroom saying, hey, I'm doing this survey, I want to know if you're willing to share your photo. We will be using, we won't be doing anything bad about it, so can you give survey on it? So how do you validate the assumption? Take the survey, 70% people say yes, 30% say no, and or 25%, 5% say I don't know. So these are some of the ways of validating assumption. Why do we need to do this? So that you don't invest a lot of money and waste it at the end of your company. So it's small and inexpensive experiments, you do it, and it will help you to understand what is going wrong and what is going right, and so that you can adjust or tweak those scientific approaches or experiments such that your entire company will fly high. So this is again, there was, what are the tests which one company did was A/B testing. You remember one of the A/B testing which I had showed. So what is A/B testing? Just if you use electronic version, you have to, just if you use the physical book version, you have to pay $100. If you use electronic version, you have to pay $80. If you use both electronic and book version, printed version, you have to pay like $200. So obviously number of people using only electronic will go high if you compare that. If you just say electronic and printed, if you want both, you have to pay very high. If you want only electronic, so what you want to sell, you'll put in such a price range so that it's easier for you to actually do some of the. Okay, somebody wants example slide. I'll come to that at the end. So next thing is, if you see, these are some of the things where you have to know, and what status you're doing, what resources you need. So if you want to just do campaigning, just put it on Facebook or Google AdWords or LinkedIn and things like that. You spend like very small amount, $100, $200, and you have results there. So you need not really spend very high money. If you want to do a survey, it's free. Google form or Microsoft form or any kind of smart sheet or anything you float, you'll get type form and so on and so forth. So this was one of the company which did neo hippies. Young people use smartphone while shopping is the assumption what they thought, and they spoke to shopkeepers and failed that they won't use it. When shopkeepers, when they spoke to them, they thought that they won't use it. So what they did was they did polling using Facebook rather than just a traditional phone call. If you call them, few of them may respond, few of them not. But if you put a poll on Facebook, there may be 100 people who will respond. You would have thought like 500, but at least 100 answers you'll get, and based on that you can validate. This is another company Inspired. So what they did was they did ask some of the questions, so which I will also do it right away so that you will also participate in such similar questions. So let me actually go here, and I hope you can see my screen, and let's open OOClap. So guys, now it's the time for you to become active and start answering some of the questions. Oh, wonderful. There are already 13 people who have joined. who have already part of WooClap because they know the code. It's very easy. So 21. So I'll also join W. I'll use QR code to join maybe. "86 of you have joined. Please join fast." You have to write your name. "110. Come on, guys, do fast. We are almost 300 plus students, so at least I would be expecting 250 of you on the WooClap platform. So either type www.wooclap. I will also paste it for you on the chat if you want. So click on that link, give your name, and you can start participating. 125, 130 people. I had disabled the SMS option, but still you're getting, but yeah, don't use SMS option. Yeah, I was muted. I was talking to the other computer, other set of students. Okay, we have 155. So I will start maybe when I reach 175. So do it fast, guys. 162, 163. I have very interesting question for this week for you guys to understand what is that you guys are doing. 10 more people fast. Six more of you, and then I'll start. Five more. Others, if you have not yet joined, please join fast. Okay, looks like we have only 170 interested people to vote and join. Okay, let's start off. So your first question on the screen is you have to match the following. So what do you mean by you'll get a drop down? You have to put that drop down and select one of them. What do you mean by idea? What do you mean by technology? What do you mean by passion? You have to select one choice. It's very easy. 40, 50 people have answered, waiting for rest of them to answer. Answer fast. So what do you mean by idea? What do you mean by technology? What do you mean by passion? So I have a master's in mechanical engineering and I can quickly prototype most any technological gadget you want. Now I want to put my skills to use in most impactful way possible and by my own boss and be my own boss. So, sorry for that. And I want to start a company in Africa that will create a sustainable business model to improve life for the people there and empower them with jobs. The last one is I have robo that allows you to feel objects rendered by a computer. Which one of them you think it's idea? Which one of them you think technology? Which one of you think it's passion? So out of 178 people who have logged in, 140 of you have answered. So let's reach up to 150 and then I'll close the answer and see what's the right answer. So guys, fast, you should be very quick. So I'll close this after I get a couple of more answers. The last one. Yeah, we are 150. So let me close this. What is the correct answer? We have seen 59% of them who say B, 1B, and that is idea. I want to start a company in Africa that will create a sustainable business model to improve life for the people there and empower them with jobs. So it's an idea which he has. Technologies, I have a robot that allows you to feel objects rendered by a computer. So that's nothing but he's talking about a technology, robot, computer, and all those things. What is passion? I have a master's in mechanical engineering and I can quickly prototype mostly any technological gadgets you want. Now I want to put my skills to use in the most impactful way possible and be my own boss. Okay. These are 49% of you are correct. So including me, I'm among the 51%. Somehow I got two of them wrong. But yeah, so you understood. So your ideology, idea, technology, and passion, all three of them are different. Don't use the word interchangeably. I've seen, I'm passionate about my idea. Yeah, it makes sense, but both are different. So why I'm telling you this is beyond 24 steps, which I'll discuss at the end of the class. Okay, next one. Dash makes me smile. What makes you smile? Piano. IFE. Oh, that's nice. That's my answer also. What makes you smile? You can give multiple answers if you want. Let's see result with chocolates, happy memories, gaming, PS5, podcast, robots, family, Mr. Bean, my girl, good grades, happiness, desserts, Pobu, adventure, success, family, RCB, nothing, food, Dooms 2016, myself, yeah, like me, travel, yeah, I'm also big fan of traveling, completion of work, satisfaction, trekking. Okay, I guess we have got 250 answers more. People have given multiple answers. That's really good. Okay, let's close this. Let's close. If not, we'll be getting answers till end of today. And it is not taking word cloud because there are so many answers. Okay. So let's close this. Let's go to the next question. Again, match the following. If you remember your team, hacker, hustler, hipster, who are hacker, who are hustlers, and who are hipsters? Hacker, hustler, hipster. Who is the business person? Who is the one who makes product? Who is concerned with customer experience and design? So please answer that question. Check your screen. You should be able to see. Let's see how many of you have got the right answer. I see almost 80 of you have answered. Let's see how many of you are right. So as soon as I reach almost like 100 and maybe 50, I'll show you the answer. You should be knowing the answer. We have discussed about this. Each one of you have also told what role you will assume in your team. Are you hacker? Are you hustler? Or are you hipster? The questions are very much relevant to today's class also. I'll let you know how it is relevant end of the class when we talk about beyond 24 steps. Okay, I guess we have got 130. I guess that's good enough. So let's see the right answer. I'll close the poll now. 1, 2, and okay, people are still answering. Come on, guys, be very fast, very quick so that we can do it as soon as possible. Okay, I'll close, and the correct answer is hacker is the one who makes the product. Hustler is the business person who actually is CEO or who gets the business to the or who runs your business. Hipster is concerned with customer experience design, the one who is very good at design and so on and so forth. Okay, the last but one question for you guys again, Cloudbird, is before I die, I want to laugh. Okay, I want to die. Okay, this is like after 100 years from now, when somebody, I mean, when individual dies. So what is that you want to do? Travel the world. Okay, I know I'm also part of travel world. Travel the world, live. Okay, before I die, live. Very interesting answers I'm getting. Travel the world, become great, live. RCB again, I hardcore fan of RCB. Oh God, getting really very weird answers. Okay. Establish my own company. That's good. Do nothing. Okay. Become successful. Okay. I have answered mine also. Cancer. Buy a dog. RCB. Become famous. Go to concert. No regrets. Meet Taylor Swift. I don't know how many of you are really ambitious, but you should have some ambition as soon as possible. Okay, so I'll close this. If not, I'll be getting answers till I open. I keep it open. Okay, the last question for you guys is arrange the following 6 themes of disciplined entrepreneurship in correct order. Not the way the way if you see how I've told you, there are 6 themes. Each theme gives you some steps. Totally, there are 24 steps. So how do you arrange these? You have to press on the arrow and you should be able to see. Okay, I have submitted. I see 11 of you have submitted. I know you will need little time to think. All this are 6 themes because I thought we guys are not concentrating on 4 different themes, which is combination of all 24 steps. So this is the last question, and then we'll end clap and go back to our classes and understand why we did this quiz. So this is more like a mock for you for your quiz also, which we'll do next week. So be ready for that. So be familiar with the tool. So you need not even see the screen. If you see your mobile screen or any screen where you're trying to answer, that's good enough. Okay, 120 to 120 people have answered. I guess it's the time to see what is the right answer. So let's see that. What's the correct answer? Who is your customer? What can you do for your customer? How does your customer acquire your product? How do you make money off your product? How do you design and build your product? How do you scale your business? So I'm not sure if it is making sense. I want to read it again so that it makes sense for you. Who is your customer? What can you do for your customer? How does your customer acquire your product? How do you make money off your product? How do you design and build your product? How do you scale your business? Fine. 1% of you are correct. Okay, that's little not happening thing. Okay, fine. So let's go back to our slides and so that okay, here we are back to the slides. So we have completed 20th step, 21 step we are actually doing. I'll show you maybe a couple of examples so that while I took the survey of you guys, so I actually did some kind of assumptions which I had in my class saying these people are understanding, these people are not understanding. Are students good, bad? Most of them you answered, most of them didn't answer. So similarly, people actually did a lot of things. So one of the results, what they did was like what I also gave you, dash makes me smile. So before the training, they did something, they asked the same question. After the training, they asked the same question. The answers were not same. So which means that that's also one of the testing validation. Okay. So what is very important for you to understand is the product development must be rapid and continuous process. So when you're trying to do some kind of key assumptions, it should be very fast and it should be continuous. It's not that your assumptions may be valid for that particular market or beachhead market. When you go to the next market, it may not be correct or it may not be same, so it may change. Okay, so this was another one. They did some of the assumptions. It's a robotic furniture to increase functionality of your apartment. So they identified three things to test based on primary market research observation: lack of storage, lack of division of space, and no proper living or dining area. So some of the assumptions. So they did some kind of interviews, and what they did was they came up with 3D models so that they can place in their home and show that this is how your home will look. And many of them gave very good feedback saying, yeah, this is good, this is not good. At least they got to know that their product or the one like pepper fry kind of thing will work or not. Okay, so these were few of the things which you should be knowing in terms of identifying what are the kinds of testing or assumptions which you should have. So those assumptions and then testing. So what are the key assumptions you will do is whenever you do your key assumptions validation or validating your key assumptions or preparing or equipping yourself saying this will work, is prepare some questions. You have to listen to people and work in terms of team. Main thing is many of them don't even validate the persona. They think that that persona, see, if you yourself put yourself in your own shoes few weeks ago, 7 weeks or 8 weeks ago, first class versus what you are right now. After doing a lot of assignments, I'm sure you are a little more confident on coming up with your own product or company, right? So this assumptions, what you had made at that time may not be valid now because you learned a lot of other things. So go back and see if you are already right or wrong. So some of the tests you can do is cost target, get quotation, find lighthouse and linchpin customers. So what are lighthouse customers? Are early adopters, the first persona or somebody who actually takes your uh, product, the first person or first few people, they are called as lighthouse customers. You know why lighthouse? From anywhere in the world you can see the first one is lighthouse, right? Anywhere on the top or somewhere in the far and things like that. Lighthouse is the first place where they lit the lamp and things like that. And what are linchpin customers? Linchpin customers are also another kind of customers. If they buy, others will also buy. If they say no, others won't buy. They don't have veto power. That's the habit. I've seen many of your classmates. So whenever, for example, whenever you're taking elective, you'll see one person who is really good at studies. You ask them, what elective did you take? And after that, what you do is you tell them, hey, you have taken this elective, I'll also take this elective. If you take some other elective, all of you will go. Those people whom you depend on, whom majority of the people depend on, are all called as linchpin customers. Okay, two of the terms you learned today: lighthouse customers and linchpin customers. What is lighthouse customer? Lighthouse customers are the customers who are early adopters. The first few customers, you call them as lighthouse customers. Linchpin customers are nothing but who have kind of power unknowingly, that if they take, rest of them will also take. Okay, very, very interesting concept. Okay, so prepay your solution, that's the best one, where people, these linchpin and lighthouse customers, how you can find out is like how you got that, right, that 251 rupees, 150 rupees mobile phone. Prepay for your solution, make those people pay beforehand, or put down a deposit. Tell them that they have to put a deposit, which is good. Deposit will not be complete money, but it's like nominal amount which you're charging. Provide letter of intent is kind of okay, and agree to pilot is acceptable. Express a strong interest in purchasing if certain conditions are met. Okay, this may be acceptable. So these are the ways you take your lighthouse customer. The best one is get them to pay even before your company is there, and put down deposit. They'll give you some partial amount. Letter of intent also may be good, but after giving letter of intent, after a few days, they may actually back out. That's also one of the drawback. Agree to pilot. Agree that, okay, you come and we'll use it. If we like it, we'll buy it. If not, no. Express strong interest in purchasing if certain conditions are accepted, which means that you'll tell them saying, okay, these are the conditions and I'll accept only if you fulfill that. Okay. So Ritu has a question. So are social media influencer linchpin customers? Yeah, they are kind of linchpin customers. They also have if that's very interesting question, Ritu. So I'll give you example. Remember, I actually, I'm very active on social media. So what I'll do is I'll put on social media saying, I've seen people tagging me for no reason. I'm not even connected to the whatever the post they have put that. But say in genuine, if I post it saying, this course when I posted, I got many responses from different people saying, hey, this is amazing. What is that course? Can I take? And so on and so forth. And interestingly, what I found was people started asking a lot of questions about this course. What is your syllabus? Can we adapt in our university? How is it different from the existing one? How are you teaching such a large classroom? So on and so forth. So I may be a linchpin customer. So for maybe Zoom or WebEx or some other products. So I'll give you one more example. So if I buy a phone, or say for example, Xiaomi or iPhone or something, I buy it and I check in Facebook, Instagram, and say that, hey, I bought this new phone, and like that, there will be few people who will be seeing my post. I have 5,000 friends on Facebook, so 5,000 people, at least 1,000 people will see, and then think that, okay, many of them actually buy the iPhone, so it's time for me also to buy iPhone. So I'm ready to take it as a credit. iPhone 12 I have bought it, so it's high time I will also buy it. So these people really influence. So those kind of customers you should buy. And many a times it so happens that social media influencer, now that's totally a different ball game, because of digital marketing is one of the new trend which is going on, and they really have a bigger veto power, and they are also linchpin customers. Okay, so whatever assumptions you have done, so this is how you will test it, by getting them to do one of these things. Okay, so this is one of the video. I'm not sure you have seen that, but I will play this video if time permits at the end or the next class. One of the nice video which I use in my classes. Many of my talks have used this really extensively. Okay, the next step is build your product. So you have seen all these things, right? Build your product, build your product is called as MVBP. So these was the headings, themes I was telling about. You saw these themes, right? So these are some of the themes which I had given you in the OOCLAN. Yes. Okay. Next step is how do you build your product? Okay. There is something known as MVBP. Okay. Or MVP is also same, but they call it as business product at MIT because that should also get some business. You should make some money, irrespective of you're making profit or not, but you should make some money. Very nice example of Amazon I'll give you in a couple of next slides. But what is this MVBP? Minimum viable business product. I know you wanted your Taj Mahal product, but this is what you should do now. Listen, it will get you the oxygen you need to keep this thing going. Real customer feedback and cash. What is your oxygen? Real customer and paying customer and then cash. Okay. The one on the right side, what you see on the image is nothing but the actual product, maybe at the some point of the time. But what is MVBP is the small one which that fairy kind of man is showing. So MVBP is a product which you'll show it's kind of working, but it's not the final product, but people should be convinced. What is MVP is? MVP is also minimum viable product where people will buy it. People will not buy it, but you will show them saying, hey, this is how it looks. Oh, they'll see, yeah, this is good, but once it works, I'll try to do it. So this is known as MVPs where customers are ready to pay. Okay. So customers are ready to pay is what we are actually checking. Business. That's why we added this word business. So what will MVPP give? What is minimum viable product is what we are going to learn. And where the customers get value is what we are going to learn in this step. You must reduce the variable in the equation to get the customer's feedback. Okay. In MVPP, the odds of success you will realize and you will come up with some kind of answer for that. So minimum viable product is a product with just enough features to satisfy early customers and to provide feedback for future developers. Whereas MVPs, they are ready to pay. In MVP, people are not ready to pay. You would be learning, I mean, you would be hearing MVP very commonly, but MVPP very less because this is something MIT has got into. But this necessary 3 conditions you should have if you want to call it MVPP. The customers get value out of use of the product. So that's step 8. That is value proposition. If you remember, some increase they are able to see. The customer pays for the product, anything. It can be anything more than 0 rupees, $0. The product is sufficient to start the customer feedback loop where the customer can help you iterate towards an increasing better product. So the step 3 is also MVP. Step 1 is also MVP, but step 2 is not MVP, it's MVPP. So you're adding business perspective for that. Okay. Concept of Concierge. So it's nothing but MVPP is fake it until you make it, but you should make money out of it. That's something which is model of this story. I'll give you one example of Amazon. When Jeff started Amazon along with his team members, they chose beachhead market as books. But right now, if you see what's the market, what are the adjacent markets, they are into anything and everything, A to Z. That's what they say in the symbol of Amazon. But starting when Amazon started, they started with books. What they did was they started selling books even without an agreement, without resell or inventory of books. They just made one dummy website, not dummy, a functional website, and they put 100 books there. And they said, if you want to buy it, you go there, we will give you 10% discount, 20% discount. So as a customer, what I do, I go, I buy that particular book and put it in my cart, pay the money. I'm getting 80 rupees instead of 100 rupees. But what I'm doing is, okay, this guy bought this money. I'll go to the bookshop, buy it for 100 rupees, sell that person for 80 rupees plus my transportation charge, all those things. I lost the money on each book, but validated the market, got educated and got feedback from customer also. This is what is MVPP. It's not necessary you should make profit, even if you're making very small money also, but you should make money. Okay, not profit, but at least something it should come back to you. So started selling books even without an agreement, without resale or inventory of books. When someone bought book, they ran to bookstore, bought more than price they quoted in website, and went to the post office to ship it. Lost money on each book, yes, They may have done for 100 people, 200,000 people, but they lost a lot of money, but still they got validated. Their assumptions were tested. Their MVBP worked. So lost money on each book, validated the market, got educated and feedback. But easy way to validate your product, which do not require huge time consuming upfront investment. MVBP depends on each industry. For example, if you do medtech, brain surgery, it should be rock solid, and you can't come up with a semi-brain surgery equipment, go put it, and the person, if it's something wrong happens, then you'll be put behind bars. So it again depends on your segment, but check for your segment what kind of MVBP can you do. So this was one of the MVP example which was done. They just put one of the website live doc. You upload your image, you tell what's your problem, and you say MD University of Bangalore 1998 video chat, text chat, and all those things. You ask some questions, the doctor will reply. They just tried it out if it works. That's one of the MVP. How much money they spend? Maybe altogether $100, including the website, web development, and back end, front end acquisition, and so on and so forth. But they validated saying, hey, this really works. Okay, one story of Amazon I've told you. And let me come to the another story of dogs will eat the dog's food. This is a step name. Don't be, I mean, if there are any dog lovers, you like this story, I'll tell you. But I'll see, do you have any questions till now? I see Bindushri is asking, sir, can you give some examples for Lighthouse and Linchpin customers? So for example, Lighthouse customers, early adapters, your first customer, if you have listed first 10 customers, they are Lighthouse customers. Your first customer, that is personalized Lighthouse customer. Whereas linchpin customers are someone whom, for example, you buy one book, I can be linchpin customers. So for this, I'll say buy Disciplined Entrepreneurship book by Bill Ollett. So if I say I buy it, you will see and that I have bought it and you will also buy it. Like 300 students will buy it out of 500 students. I am nothing but a linchpin customers for that particular book. So these are some of the examples. Any other questions before we go ahead? Are you guys there? Hi, are you guys there? Yes, no? Good. Yeah. So any other questions? Do you guys have any questions? Instead of yes, can you put me one question where I shouldn't be able to answer or I should be able to answer? Okay, cool. So let's go to the next step. Show that the dogs will eat the dog's food. Okay. This is very interesting story. I will share the story also with you guys. I've written the script I saw from somewhere or I took from the textbook and wrote that script, I guess. But if you see the slide here, you have come up with amazing food where the dogs for the dogs and but they have to eat it. This doesn't make sense. All my logical data research shows that this is good for them, plus they told me they would eat it. Should have checked before you build that big plant and spent all the money. And the dog, one of the dog is saying yuck, I don't like it. Another dog is seeing and running away saying no, I don't want this food. So what do you mean by this? This is a fictional story. The following story is fictional but has many parallels to very real companies which we are trying to build in this course. So I'll read this story as is, very easy to understand. Please give all concentration on audio, and also you can parallelly read the script which is written on the screen. Once upon a time, in a land called Ivory Tower, there was a chemist who wanted to make better dog food. He studied to see what kind of food would improve the health, happiness, and financial and spiritual well-being of dog. It gives you health, happiness, financial, and spiritual well-being of one dog. He came up with a breakthrough formula that was better for everyone and cost one-tenth the price of the cheapest dog food available in the market. Dogs would sleep better at night, have a better demeanor, shed less hair, have white teeth, be friendlier to strangers, obey their owners more, and so on and so forth. They had tested in the lab from the chemical standpoint and were told that it would even taste better. Everything made logical sense. It was business opportunity that was almost too good to be true. So the founders sprang into action, the chemist, raising a large sum of money and spending $3 million to build a plant to produce this dog food. He signed up distributors, kicked off a huge marketing campaign to quote Jackie Gleason from the Honeymooners, "This thing is going to be going to the moon, Alice." The product shipped, owners put the food in front of their dogs, and the dogs refused to eat the dog food. The company crashed and burned into a spectacular fashion. Very nice story. You have done all the work. You have done everything amazing work. The dogs will, their spiritual well-being, also financial well-being, they're happy, they can sleep very well at night, like baby, shed less hairs, have white teeth, they're stranger friendly, they obey owners more, and so on and so forth, which is really good. So he invested a lot of money in the campaign. He invested a lot of money in the plant, the big plant where they'll produce the food. And finally, when the dogs were given the food, the dogs said yuck, and the dog said no, I don't want this food. So what's the moral of this story? So whenever you do it, don't go in a large scale and put it in your customer. That's why we do alpha testing, beta testing. And alpha testing, you do some changes, then you go to beta testing and see if it really works or you still need some changes. Then you go big, scale it. Don't first point of the time, don't try to scale it so big that it will so happen your company will crash. Okay, so this is nothing but dogs refuse the food and give dog the food which it likes. Okay, so offers you MVBP to your target customer, obtain quantitative metrics regarding the adoption rate of your product. So if you put there, people take. And here you'll talk about a lot of numbers. You'll see if your word of mouth works. It will give you numbers, and numbers always don't lie. They're very open, and you can know. You'll also know if your product you'll get a user or not. Y Combinator. So I will try to get one of the person from Y Combinator. So right now, even you guys should Google something known as Y Combinator. Okay. So if you know this, good. If you don't know, just Google and check what is Y Combinator. It's a company. It's not a company. It's kind of a institute where lot of people get trained in a systematic process. The way how I'm training you guys on entrepreneurship, they do even more vigorously. They do even more, almost like 12 weeks or something like that. And they actually connect you to people. They're not incubator. They're totally different. And one of the successful story, and each of the Y Combinator graduate will get kind of investment in their company. So just check this. Okay, Rishabh has some data for us. This is where Vijay Mallya took a wrong step on jumping to provide premium services and invested tons of crores overnight, that too in Indian market, which failed miserably. Okay, yeah, maybe. I am not aware of the story, but maybe you can Google. But that's one of the good concept where world over people are doing it, and now they have converted their course online, so you can apply if you are really interested. Okay. Kevin says Bad Boy Billionaires on Netflix. Yeah, you can check that if you're interested. So when you can measure what you are speaking about and express it in numbers, you know something about it. When you cannot, your knowledge is of meager and unsatisfied kind. So always your numbers play. So why do I give you votes? I get some opinion about numbers. See, I take attendance here, so I get how many percent of people are attending my class, and so on and so forth. So always numbers will give you some of the concepts about it. So what numbers you should look at? You should see initial interest. So it can be number of people who have clicked the website, number of people who have seek to learn more, and so on and so forth. Conversion rate, what do you mean by conversion rate? So they've clicked on the website, do they convert themselves into your customer, or they just leave it? So that's also important. It's not that the people, I have 1,000 people who clicked on the website, but number of conversion is 1. So that's like miserable. So purchase and pay, who purchase and pay. Retention rate post purchase, how many people will stay. Customer advocacy, like it can be promoters, detractors, and all detractors, which means that all of them they'll pull from other customers. They'll say, hey, don't go in Ola, it's horrible, go by Uber. Don't go in Uber, go by Ola. So these people are distractors. Whereas promoters says, hey, go in Ola, they're giving amazing discounts. They're giving, and use this code, go use Google Pay, don't use Paytm, use something. So all these people are nothing but promoters, detractors. Coca and LTV, at this point of time, you should see whether you are going in right direction, and every step you have to revisit time and again, at least majority of the steps, so that you get perfect answer for what you're trying to do. And what's your gross margin? Okay, how many steps we are done? We are done with 23 steps. We have last step with us, develop a product plan. Okay, what do you mean by product plan? Product plan is once you have MVBP, after that you should see how you will take your MVBP to the actual product after some days, after some years, or after some months. So let's get started with MVBP, but let's also have a plan here. Things will change, but we are playing chess and not checkers in that. We need to think a few moves ahead. That is our flexible plan. So whenever you're trying to you play chess, so I don't know how many of you still play chess, but whenever you're playing, you think, okay, if I put this pawn here and that something else, the king will come and kill, or the queen will come and run, and things like that. So that is what you will try to do that. Okay, that is what you will try to do in chess, that you will think ahead from lot of your concepts, lot of steps ahead if you are a good chess player. Okay, Bindushri has some data for us. This is a startup activity that invests large number of startups twice a year. Yeah. So that's Y Combinator. Please go and check. And okay, let's come back to what is product plan. Develop a long-term plan to add functionality so you can address. Why? It is important to think ahead and have a plan so people are ready to keep moving forward from your plan. Okay, this gives you some kind of idea that in future this may happen, so I'm ready for this may not happen, so I have to do this to make that happen. Okay, sorry. So develop a longer term product plan to evolve your product service and markets over time, so that the MVP is the first step on plan for much broader success. Okay. And this plan is subject to change as new information comes in. So don't sweat the details too much or spend too much time on it, but have at least a general vision on how you will make this a great company. Okay, how you will plan. Don't spend a lot of time on any of the steps for that matter. I would say some of the steps you should spend, some of the steps you shouldn't, and then you will get to know how it works. Okay, so your designs, your market, or anything you do, how much time you invest, and all those things. Don't invest much of the time in any of them, but as and when you grow, automatically you will start investing on few of the steps, few of the things, and so on. Okay, fine. So any one of you are willing to tell me, summarize what are the steps? Even if you read the slides for me is also okay. I know I can see Ashok is there. Hi Ashok, I can see your camera. You're roaming around streets. You're not at home. Yeah, good that you have so interest to actually attend classes even when you're in streets. Okay. So any one of you wants to revise all the steps for me, or do you want me to do? If any one of you are willing to do, please let me know by raising your hand or doing something so that I can unmute you. No one? Okay. At least answer how many steps we have in disciplined entrepreneurship on your chat window. How many steps do we have? 24. Okay, good. How many themes do we have in disciplined entrepreneurship? How many themes? 6. How many themes do we have? 6 themes. Awesome. Okay, what are the 6 themes we have is who is your customer? What can you do for your customer? How does your customer acquire your product? How do you make money of your of your product? How do you design and build your product? How do you scale your business? This is what we'll see in all the 6 themes. Now, as soon as possible, let me revise all the 24 steps for all of you guys so that you know what is that we are trying to do in disciplined entrepreneurship course. So what we start with, we do market segmentation. First is you should have some idea which market, all those things, or which problem you're trying to solve. That's unmet need. But after that, first step is you will find out market segmentation. You will have to segment the market. It can be based on geography, it can be based on gender, it can be based on class of people, it can be based on so forth. And in that you select one market where it's very easy to capture and acquire that particular market. That's called beachhead market. For that beachhead market, you will write end user profile, which can be for other than beachhead market also. This end user profile is the profile of your final customers. How is they all those demographics, geographics, so on and so forth. And in that you will select one particular market, that's beachhead market. For that you will calculate something as total addressable market in dollars or in rupees, where you will say this is the money I can make if I actually go and target this particular beachhead market. Next, you will identify one particular example of end user profile that's known as persona. This persona is nothing but a real person with all the demographics which you have put, who will exactly replicate your final customer. In that, after that, you will come up with step 6, where you will say life cycle use case. Life cycle use case is nothing but a use case how your customer will come across, how your product will go around, how your customer will come across that. Next, you will have high level specification. All those specification what you have mentioned in high level, you will come up with technical technology or technical look of it, so that all of you in your company can look at the same product and say, this is how my product will look in future. Quantified value proposition, the actually how people are suffering, and if you use my product, the suffering will go off. It will increase the efficiency, decrease the time, increase the fairness, so on so forth, in less number of time, which we saw one of the cream or sunscreen kind of thing. Next is next 10 customers. Ninth step is next 10 customers. First customer is persona, that's why you see the arrow mark which is connected. After that, how will you acquire next 10 customers? How will you acquire? What is the process? What are the characteristics? You will also relate to your end user profile. Next is you'll define a core. Core is nothing but your company's core, which can be IPR, it can be patent, it can be your technology, your business model, something very unique that others cannot copy from yours. Even if you tell them core, they cannot really replicate it. Next is you have charting competitive positioning. So you'll take two priorities of your persona, put them on X and Y axis, and then try to plot them bad versus good and bad versus good on top. And then you're always your persona priority and your company will be on the top right quadrant, which means that you are good and you're solving both the priorities on priority. So next is decision making unit. Who was primary influencer, secondary influencer, veto power, so on and so forth. Map the customer acquisition process. How will your customer acquire the product, starting from how will understand that he needs some kind of product, and how will he come across product, till how will he buy it, sales, and also continuation, retention of your customers, so on and so forth. And follow on time is nothing but next beachhead market time you're done. But for larger, if you go on with your adjacent markets, your other markets, follow on time, the total addressable market. Business model, what kind of business model? Premium, freemium, pay over counter, or razor blade model, so on and so forth. Which model suits for you? How much will you pay for how much your customers will pay for your product? That's pricing framework. How much profit you make, usually 3 times, 4 times. LTV, lifetime value of your customer, how much profit you're making. Usually LTV will be very less or maybe negative sometimes in the starting of the year, and it goes exponentially high, and after 5 years it will become, you have to make profit after some certain time, where there's an equilibrium point. And next is you have mapping sales process. How will you sales process? Direct sales, indirect sales, website sales, so on and so forth. And next you have COCA. COCA is customer acquisition process, cost of customer acquisition. So how much you're spending for acquiring one single customer. You do some analysis, you see how much you're spending for your marketing, how much you're spending for sales, how much you're spending for marketing, and how much you're spending for one single customer to acquire. Usually acquisition cost is very, very high initially, and then it slowly reduces after some time. That's known as cost of customer acquisition. The 20th step is identify key assumptions. What are the key assumptions you'll find? It can be in any steps. You would have assumed some of the things. You should test those key assumptions and make sure it is valid. Assess the risk, whether it is too high, too low, too critical. If something happens, it goes wrong and things like that. MVBP, minimum viable business product. Minimum viable business product is same as MVP but with business, which means that you show something to your customer and make them believe that it works, fake it until you make it. And after you give them, they should be willing to pay some money, any money more than $1 or more than $0 is nothing but your MVBP. Next is you'll show that dogs will eat the dog's food. So before you go and scale your entire business, so you should be very careful. You shouldn't put everything on stake and try to put it on your business. Instead of that, do some little bit of doing, like how your dog food, try to give the food to the dog and test it. If they say no, I don't like it, if they say yuck, if they say no, then go back and change the taste, change the things what the dog will like, and so that your investment is not heavy. Don't do huge campaigning, don't do invest a lot of money, don't burn the cash flow and finally come up saying, oh, it's a disaster, now I'm left with my company. So next is develop product plan. Product plan, how will you take your MVBP, which is a mini product of yours, to actual scaling? How will you take your journey forward in your company? That's your development of product plan. Fine. So I took maybe 5 minutes to explain all 24 steps. Now, one question for you guys. I want you to type on the chat window, what do you think is missing in this 24 steps of disciplined entrepreneurship? You know how company works now. You are very comfortable. While you're doing your assignments, you would have thought, this is something which is missing. I guess if this was there in 24 steps, I think I would have made better. So what do you think are additional things which are missing in this 24 steps? Any answers for that? Do you think there are some more steps which we should think about, or we haven't thought about, or any of the concepts? Forget about steps, 24 plus steps. I'm sure there are many steps which we haven't done. But what do you think are a few things which we have neglected in these things, in these steps? So this was very technical, business technical I'm talking, not the engineering technical. But do you think anything else we have missed? Any answers for that? Nothing, we haven't missed anything? Employees, okay. Legal procedures, amazing, amazing. Anything else? Employees, legal procedure, that's it? That's all we have covered? Time factor, okay. A time factor. So you guys are saying with this 24, I will add employees, legal procedure, time factors, and Nikita is saying, how do we raise investments for the company? Okay, yeah, that's something which I'll be teaching you in next few classes. What else? Financial planning, we did somewhat little bit of financial planning in LTV, COCA and all, but that's something really beyond this course. Financial worksheet, if I send you will go mad and you won't understand anything. So let's park that aside apart from these 24 steps. Anything else? Anything else? But whatever you are telling, I am going to cover those things in next few classes. So already I have already read your minds and I've already planned for next classes what is that we are trying to do. Okay, I don't see any of the further answers, but let's see what is this. A business is more than 24 steps. The 24 steps gives you framework to get a rock solid product market fit at initial launch. But as your business grows beyond MVBP, you also need to learn about the following. How to register a startup in India? Yeah, Tanay, I'll be covering that. I'll be covering that. Don't worry. I will try to get someone. If not, I myself will cover that. Don't worry about it. So I'm trying to talk to one of your seniors who have registered a startup. What is the process? What are the things? I'll also tell you, but I'll also get him so that he can also tell you. So culture, what is the culture? So this 24 steps are something which is already existing. Where I did little bit of tweaking so that it suits India, but there is huge amount of tweaking required. In next few classes, I'll teach you so that you will get something very relevant to Indian context. Yeah. Next thing is about culture. Example of culture is if you go to Amritsar, you will find a McDonald's which is veg only McDonald's. That's the culture part of your company. Another part of your culture is culture within your company. How much respect do you give among your other co-founders? Within your team of five, how much respect do you give to each other? How much respect do you give for your co-founder? How much respect do you give for your own employees, to other people, to your customers? That's nothing but your culture. There are few slides on that. I'll talk about it. Team and HR processes. Somebody spoke about employees. So team and HR process, you should know. Development, sales execution, customer service, that's all much behind later. Financial and financing, yes, to some extent we cover, not completely. Leadership and scaling the business. Governance is also very important. If you ask me why majority of the companies fail, because of the governance. They have very bad governance. They treat all employees the same, or employees differently. They treat their co-founders differently. The way the governance, the top down approach, bottom up approach, the initial parts, if you're only two of you or five of you, it may work well. But as and when you grow your company beyond some number, then that will be disaster if you don't have proper governance in place. Intangibles, what are the tangibles? Are something which you can measure. Intangibles are something which you cannot measure. So these are few things which you should explore, few of them by yourself, and few of them I'll help you to explore. Okay, so if you see this course, what is the logical flow which we have tried? So if you put all the steps in your logical flow, you have idea, you have people, you have market, you have product, business model, execution, finance, and scaling. Okay, so if you see generation analysis, testing on key stakeholders, team composition, value setting, expectations is people. Employees, what kind of employees you should have? You are hacker, hustler, hipster, those kind of employees, but there may be another kind of employees, finance guys, those guys, these guys, HR, so on and so forth. Market segmentation, direct validation, competition, how do you assess your competition, core, and so on and so forth. Product value propositions, competitive advantage, development plans, business model, way to extract rent, way to get pricing. Rent as in how do you get your product out making money. Execution, go to market, sales, marketing, financial statements, investor strategy and pitch, and business plus, that is beyond your for scaling and getting investments, logical flow, scaling, and presentation. So if you're searching for truth, you will get truth somehow, but you should actually go and do some actions. It will set you free. Okay. So this is about 24 steps. Round of applause for all of you for completing all 24 steps so effectively and efficiently. Your assignments still, I really like many of your assignments, the way you have understood the course and you're trying to do it. That's amazing. That's amazing. I can see some of them already clapping and other things. Thanks for that. You are really done very good job. So let's close this class in some time by understanding few other things in this course. So before that, do you have any questions? Remember this picture, if you don't have focus, you'll fall like this, but do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Zoom 2, do you have any questions? Zoom 1, do you have any questions? Any questions? No questions? Okay. So if there are no questions, we'll go to the next few slides. This is end of 24 steps and end of many of the things. So I got a question, sir, for the next week assignment, is it teamwork or individual? Yeah, Vignesh, it's a teamwork. I'll discuss about the assignment again in the class today. So one thing you remember, uh, any other questions, you can just chat and I'll take it as and when possible. Put it on the chat window, and or you can raise your hand, I'll unmute you. So repeat. So 24 steps is, at this point of time, if you see a 24 steps, you may be proud. But as and when you go after some time, you will realize that you have done lot of, little bit of tweaking, little bit of assumptions, little bit of carelessness, little bit of laziness, little bit of over enthusiasticness, which is also not okay. All these things together you have come up, and there is what you will realize, that you all these steps you have to repeat it. So this 24 steps throughout your startup journey, you should keep on doing it. Okay, if not for the same company, maybe for different companies, same company, different products, so there will be a lot of steps you have to keep on repeating. Okay, that's one takeaway from this 24 steps. Now, if you remember, there is something as disciplined entrepreneurship canvas. You guys remember? Yes, no? You can give a thumbs up, or you can say yes in chat window. There is something as disciplined entrepreneurship canvas. I've been telling you guys to do that. It has a majority chunk of your CIE. Do you guys remember disciplined entrepreneurship canvas? Yes. Okay, that's good. You are remembering. So I also remember that disciplined entrepreneurship canvas. These canvas is very important. If you summarize that disciplined entrepreneurship canvas, this is how it used to look. Now go back to your each step, and I will be seeing at least 5 iterations of your disciplined entrepreneurship canvas, because almost every week I've been reminding you, saying fill your disciplined entrepreneurship canvas, fill your disciplined entrepreneurship canvas. And on the what, why are you in business, why you, how does your customer acquire products, so on so forth. So if you see each of the step, all of them are connected, and most of the things we have already taught. And if you have not learned anything, like fall on time, you can leave it blank. But in the first week, if you see, you would have understood what is your vision, passion, assets, initial ideas. And maybe in the second week, after competitive advantage, initial market, all these things. So first is on the top, second is on the bottom, and then third is advantage, and so on and so forth. If you see, be mindful about the arrow marks which is put. So the template I've already shared. I would be evaluating, at least you will have 5 versions of it. 4 or 5. I will make it little less burden. 4 versions of it, which means that you have at least first week you have filled first step, second step in this DE canvas. Third week you have filled third and fourth. Fifth week you have filled 5 and 6, and now eighth week you have filled 9 and 10, and all of them together. So your final canvas will have more what do you call, more weightage in your grading, but this one is the last one. So I will give you, today's 11th. So let me see the calendar. Today's 11th. So I'll give you time till 25. That is next to next class. Next week, you have one assignment already, making one nice slide. But next to next class, I will give you 2 weeks of time to complete this canvas. Okay, all 5 weeks canvas, all the revisions. Last thing is, if you know Raghuram Rajan, I'm not sure if you know him. He was one of the governors of RBI, faculty of MIT actually. So read one of the stories. It's very interesting how he was involved in rural India, refrigerators and all. So I'll tell you one example how this was solved. So people started, he was a former governor of RBI. So he's a professor, he's an economist, he's a professor at MIT. So if you actually see one of the innovations somebody did, I'm not correlating him, but I just remembered that example. One of the entrepreneur like you and me, all of us present here, they came up with amazing technology, where they say use this technology to they use this technology in rural place, and they said you get a refrigerator at very low cost, pay 1,000 rupees, you get 4 refrigerators you can use at home. It was success initially, but later it was a failure. You know why it was failure? Why it didn't work? Why the rural India Godrej refrigerator didn't work initially? Why it didn't work? Very few days it was successful. After that, people stopped using it. I'd given you a similar example in one of the classes. Why it didn't work? Why do you think people won't use a refrigerator in rural place? Hi guys. No electricity? Yeah, Kritika. All that's bang on. So exactly, it's bullseye answer. Electricity is always a problem. May people eat freshly cooked food? Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. But electricity was always a problem. Even many of the time, recently also, it's a problem that electricity is not continuously provided in rural places, unlike urban. So if you give refrigerator, people will not use it. Another question for you guys is, this is a very interesting story. One of the innovator, one of the NGO actually, they went and they put they gave one of the wells for potable water, for drinking water. They came up with a technology like how you see in front of BMS Baswangudi temple, there is one potable water machine, right? You put 5 rupees coin, you get a bigger bottle. You put 1 rupee, you get small, maybe a liter water or something like that. 3 rupees, 5 liters water, and so on. So if you see that, it's really interesting and nice concept. The same thing, one of the NGOs said, why it's for urban, we will do it for rural. This happened in Andhra Pradesh actually. So when they implemented it, they actually implemented and they saw that they will put that plant, electricity, everything is available. They put that plant for use for customers of rural customers. Finally, they got all the rural, not customers, it was freely given. NGO was taking all the money. It's called Nice Foundation, if I'm not wrong. So they did everything. But problem is, it didn't work. People were drinking the same water, bad or good water, which they were drinking before. The water which was the plant which was installed in the rural place, people didn't use it. Why do you think people didn't use that plant? Why they didn't use that plant? Transportation, water container was not efficient, too complicated to operate and use. May not be, water container was not efficient. So Sriranga has the right answer. Transportation was really a problem. So what was the problem was, the transportation which they were trying to do, they wanted to put it in a place where people could there is there where they got more water, which was little outskirts from the rural place. And what happened was, no, it was free. Water was free. So they didn't wanted to pay for water. It was free. Even the potable water which they were giving, everything cost was borne by the NGO. Why they didn't use was the way they were actually carrying the water. It didn't solve the problem. The way they were carrying is using the whatever the small, I don't know, that jar kind of thing which they use, and however they were trying to use. So it's the same way they were trying to use that, but the problem was the way they used to carry. They have to wait for they have to wait for till end till evening, so that their husbands can come with them, drive and take one bucket of water or something like that. So there was another person in Africa. They did a wonderful thing. What they did was they made a bigger, like 25 liters, not 25, maybe 50 liters of big kind of rolling drum, and they had some kind of way to push it, and that rolling drum used to carry water, and they used to slowly use, not slowly but easily, transport the water to their home. It was very easy and effective solutions, and they were able to do that. So, Shreyashri, do you have anything? Okay. Last one, do you know what is this? Very, very apt for COVID times. This was very recent invention. It's not innovation. One of my friend did this. Very interesting. I asked him, can I use this in class? He said, yeah, go ahead and use it. What do you think is this? Any answer? Oximeter. Even initially when I saw that, I thought it's oximeter. No, it's not. It's not. Charger of what? It's not charger, by the way. Come on, fast guys. We are losing time. Mouse pad. You're almost near to that. But what's the application of? See, you already have mouse pad, mouse sanitizer. That's nice. Nice thought. You're getting a lot of thoughts, which is good, but not exactly. You're near to mouse. I totally agree. That's why I showed you the third picture. Joystick related. Okay, you're nearby Rishabh. Nice answer. Mouse for people with Parkinson. Oh God. Okay. Joystick related and mouse. I connect them. After that, what? That's a couple of clues. Charging mouse pads. No. Mouse sanitizers. No. What's the problem right now? All the techies are facing. Pointer, wireless mouse charger, no automated mouse. Sri Vaishnav is almost near to that. See, what's the problem all techies are facing now? I mean, if you have some techie in your home, the problem which they were actually facing is they should have, what will happen if you don't use your computer for 5 minutes? It will log out automatically, it will lock. All the computers will lock immediately. Okay, so once it locks after 5 minutes, so this guy, what he came up for his wife is that because his wife was working from home, she's a software engineer. So if she wanted to work from home, she has to log in every day for almost 12 hours, 10 hours or something, irrespective of she's working or not, to post that she's working. So he came up with a device where you can see a small pink thing, right? It will rotate, that motor will rotate and it will simulate the movement, and the mouse will be moving so that it doesn't auto lock and it will not log out, and it will say that you're not active. Even in today's class also, I'm checking your activeness based on how much active you're doing. Yeah, this is unethical. Yeah, I know. Yeah, somebody read it, so that's good. So this is something which is which people have done, so don't go by this, but this can be a product during COVID time. So be very mindful of what you guys are doing in future. And I guess we are done today. And the last thing I want to tell again here is use 16:9 slide widescreen and write about your company and team. This is a team assignment. You want a template, I won't give any template because I want you to be very creative as possible, as creative as possible. Use infographics, use all the known softwares, do figures, do write something. If you're very good at art, you're an artist, use your skills. Be creative as you can. It can be image from Canva, put it on a slide, but you need to send me a slide. All the slides I'll download and put it live. Yeah, so yeah, 16:9. It's very easy. I can right now show it to you. So if you go to your, so say for example, this is my Google slide, and if this is my Google slide, what I'll do is file, and I'll go to page setup. There is 4:3, 16:9, 16:10, and custom. So I'll use 16:9 and I'll say apply, and that's when I'll get on Google slide. But how do you get on the PPT is something which I'll show it to you right away. So this is my PPT, which you can see on screen, and you can see something is coming here. So what you do is go to design or layout. Where do I go? Hmm, okay, view, I guess, view or review. somewhere slideshow. You should be seeing it somewhere. I don't use Google. I use Google Slides more, so it is there. I remember. Yeah, here. So go to design and click on slide size, and you'll get standard, which I showed you in the class today. And you should see scale. And another one is you should use slide and widescreen. So what I want is widescreen 16:9 is the what I want. On this screen, be as creative as you want. Basic things is make sure that you have logos and other things. You should have college logo, BMSC logo, have your company logo, which you have done, have your company team, department name, USN, and your names, and then what is your need and innovation you are trying to solve. Use any steps out of this 24 steps. Be as creative as possible. Let it be infographics. Don't put lot of text on your slide, and it should be self-explanatory. You can use Canva or any other software or try to build from your slides. And this I'll circulate with HODs or some other stakeholders. If they are interested, they will get back to you guys. Don't put any of the information like your email ID, phone number and all, because if it goes viral, then I don't want you guys to get a lot of queries and things like that. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting questions. So let me stop sharing. Yeah. So I see you guys have questions. So one presentation with 5 slides where each slide is done by one team member. No, sir. No, Nikita. No, not like that. I just want one slide from all your team member. It's a team effort. One slide per team. One slide per team. Will it be enough? So many points, very less space. Yeah, that's really ambitious. That's where your creativity will come. I'm not telling you to put all 24 steps. I'm telling you to put what's your problem, what's your solution, what's your problem, what's your solution. You can use maybe quantifying value proposition, that might be clue, but you may not be interested. You want to use something else. You want to use the mapping sales process, or you want to use life cycle use case and things like that. That's left to you, but you should show problem, you should show your solution, all of them in one slide. Don't be too clumsy, make very lucrative. The design should be good. So kindly clarify one question. Is it one presentation which contains 5 slides of each member, or is it only one slide which contains ideas by all team members? So I've given you pointers, just one slide, one team. So that's really ambitious, I know. So you might be having problem. So I'll stop recording. Thank you.